Hello everybody and welcome back to Conservative Lady Talk. My name is Percy and today I just want to discuss why I believe the cultural influences of song like WAP or like Stupid Hoe are not influential on women. So before we get into it, I apologize. I didn't really put a lot of effort into my looks today. I feel bleh. It's kind of just, one of them days. I don't know where I live. Here in Oregon, it's currently on fire. My specific city isn't on fire yet, but my county is, so that's why I've been really away from this. Other than like consistent death threats, I've just been trying to avoid my online presence as much as possible, which is unfortunate that I have to feel that way. So yeah, let's get into it. So let's talk about WAP, because that's the most like influential song right now, which, as somebody with female body and female body parts, I could say that WAP is one of the least influential songs I've ever listened to. So I mean, when you got words like I don't cook, I don't clean, will I tell you how I got this ring, it's like, okay, so you're pretty much saying you're fucking useless when it comes down to a partnership, but the only thing you have to offer is your baby making machine. And I'm sorry, but that's like pretty fucking sexist. Like, I don't think every woman should have to know. Oh, sorry. My cat decided she was gonna take the shitty tripod I have with her. But yeah, I don't think like every woman should have to be the only one that cooks and cleans in the household. Of course not. I personally like to play the housewife status. I love cooking and cleaning for people, especially people I'm romantically interested in. That's like my number one thing, is to cook and clean for them, just because, I love them and like them and all of that. But when you're pretty much admitting that you have like no adult skills, like I don't doubt that Cardi B can't cook like top ramen, because I mean, she's ratchet. Every ratchet girl knows how to cook top ramen. Trust me, I went through a little ditzy ratchet phase when I was like 18, 19 years old. It was honest to God embarrassing. But like just saying that like, oh, the only thing I have to offer in a partnership is my body, like that seems really counterproductive to feminism, because like we are more than just our bodies. We're more than just, like baby making machines, I guess, or like baby factories. And honestly, like myself, I am fairly against feminism, or at least modern feminism. I'm a total first wave feminist, that we should all have rights and things like that. But the new wave of feminism for me is just, honest to God, just stupid. And just pretty much hashtag me tooing everybody that you don't like is also disgusting. Sorry, my cat's being total crackhead. And I mean, then you also got lyrics like gobble me, swallow me. Like, ew. Like, I would never ever say anything like that in front of my own mother. Like, I can say a lot of gross things in front of my mom. My mom and I have a very open relationship. But if I looked my mom in the eyes or put a song out on the radio that I knew my mom could hear about me having a wet ass pussy, let me tell you, when I say, I would not be surprised if my mom came to my house and just fucking killed me. Because, like, that is so disgusting. Like, if my mom finds this video, Mom, I totally apologize for the lyrics. At least you know that I didn't write these, because you didn't raise trash. But it's like, if I was gonna be trash, like, why would I want to sing these lyrics? Like, I get it. And I mean, then there's the TikTok dance challenge with WAP. And finding 12 and 13 and 14 and 15-year-old girls throwing it back, to say the least, and twerking and bouncing their ass on the floor like they're a fucking dance crew member in Cuties, which that's a whole other topic of fucking ew. Planning on getting into that in the next video. But that's just fucking disgusting. Like, seeing little girls portray themselves sexually is disgusting. Like, we're not tribal anymore. We don't have to dance like that in order to attract a mate. Like, it's one of those things where it's just so disgusting, the fact that girls are using their body to get attention. And it's even worse to me that they are girls. They're not even women. They're not even young adults. They're not 16, 17, which, that's still a fucking problem. Like, 17-year-olds, I guess, can be a little more forgiving because most of them are close to the age of 18. But like, little fucking girls, these minors, these children are just sexualizing the fucking life out of them. And you know, I can't say like, oh, you know, blame the parents or blame this, blame that. What I'm saying is blame society and blame Cardi B for, you know, your fucking 11-year-old daughter twerking on the phone. Like, that's pedophile bait. It's just disgusting. Like, all it's doing is just attracting the wrong kind of men into a child's life, you know? Like I said, I can't blame the parents because it's not like the parents can sit on top of their children every single day and be like, hey, what are you watching? What are you doing? And watching every single TikTok that kid makes, you know, or watches. Like, it's impossible for parents to be able to do that, especially in this day and age where, like, most parents are still trying to work from home and somehow be a fucking teacher for their kid. But, you know, it's just one of those things overall where it's just really shitty, I guess, for the parents to have to, like, think, like, oh my god, what is my child being exposed to? And then have them being exposed to, you know, people like the Bidet, however that's pronounced, but he's like the TikTok predator. Like, everybody knows who he is because he just preys on these young children. And I mean, yeah, even if he was in jail, there's hundreds of thousands of them out there. When I started TikTok, because when TikTok came out, I was an adult. But when Musical.ly was still around and people were twerking on there, like, there were Musical.ly predators as well. Like, there are predators on every site, and sites that allow you to post your own videos and things like that are probably going to have the higher counts of pedophiles. So I know I'm probably going to get a lot of shit from the pedophile community, if you even want to fucking call them that. Or whatever the fuck they want to be called. I mean, I know they have, like, gross-ass names, like maps and things like that. So, I mean, you know, there's ones like that are just, in my opinion, degrading to women. I think WAP is absolutely disgusting. It's not degrading. It doesn't encourage young girls to be a better woman or a better girl or a better anything. It's encouraging the sexualization of women, and which is also just counterproductive to feminism if you guys really want to play that card. Because, oh, it's a feminist icon, Cardi B. No, she's garbage. She openly admitted to sexually violating men and drugging them so that way she could rob them as a stripper. Like, I'm gonna be that person. As a former stripper, I'm honestly got disgusted that girls like her exist, because I know Cardi isn't just one of, you know, all the strippers. I know there are hundreds of thousands of girls, or, well, I should call them women because they're over the age of 18, of these women that are going around being little fucking Cardi B's, and that's so trashy. It's so disgusting to me. And if we really want to further get into that, that can be its whole other subcategory of why I think Cardi B is a fucking garbage human being. You know, like I also mentioned earlier with another song, like Stupid Hoe. Like, calling a girl a hoe is so disgusting, because it's like, that word holds a lot of weight to some girls, and, you know, like sluts and things like that. Like, hoe is a synonym of slut if you want to go, you know, into that more. And, you know, as a, you know, young child growing up, when I was in middle school, I was called a slut left and right. The funny thing is compared to literally every girl there, I was like the super mega power virgin, because I was still a virgin when I was being called slut. And let me tell you, that's like really demeaning, and it's disgusting to like sit there and call girls like hoes. And so when you have people, you know, like Nicki Minaj that are like, oh yeah, you're a stupid hoe, and that's like pretty much the only thing she has to offer in that song, because let's face it, most of Nicki Minaj's songs are trash. And, you know, I'm not saying that other women don't have trashy songs. Trust me, a lot of them do. But a lot of the country, like, songs that I listen to, like, they aren't going around calling women trash. They're mostly just, like, pulling a Carrie Underwood and, like, fucking slashing the man's tires because it's the man's fault that he's disgusting. Not that every man's disgusting, but that's just my example. And, you know, just on top of that, then we have, like, a lot of other songs that just, like, really play into it, especially from Nicki Minaj. Like, you know, we have Anaconda, which, again, when I was in high school, because that's when that came out, was when I was in high school. I believe I was a freshman in high school when that song came out. And when it came out, you know, it's, first of all, it's a ripoff of Sir Mix-a-Lot. He did not deserve that. And second of all, that song was disgusting. The video was worse. And, you know, if we really want to go into, not only was that sexualizing women and, you know, just pretty much not providing anything for feminism, though being called a feminist icon song and Nicki Minaj a feminist icon of the time. You Nicki Minaj is pretty much just my generation's Cardi B, unfortunately. But just like on top of that, then, you know, she goes into like, fuck them skinny bitches. Like, we need to stop fat culture. Like, this is a whole other thing, but like, seriously, fat culture is fucking disgusting. And like, yeah, I get like, oh, Nicki's thick, but like, before all the plastic, she was a skinny bitch. So, you know, we could really play into a lot of these subcategories of feminism, which I'm really thinking about, honestly, right now, just completely ripping into, because I am so fucking sick of feminism, and unfortunately, I know a lot of women are going to hate this and disagree and all of that, which is fine. You guys are allowed to have your own opinions, but I just think a lot of this shit's just frustrating. You know, I hate hearing about how this woman's an icon, but yet the only thing she has provided to society is more hypersexualization. And, you know, grown women aren't listening to Cardi B. Like, let's be real. Like, most grown women are not going out of their ways to listen to songs about wet-ass pussies. Like, I'm sure as fuck not. The only reason I got introduced to it was through TikTok. And, you know, I feel like I got fucking Me Too'd by it. Like, let's be real. If we can call Me Too on everything, I'm gonna call Me Too on Cardi B. Because straight the fuck up, I feel violated by listening to that song. It's like, you know, when you walk in on something and you know you're not supposed to be there, like, you know, I don't know, like, fucking walking on, like, the dog cleaning himself or something, you just feel super fucking uncomfortable. You're like, what do I do? It's the same fucking feeling when I come across TikTok videos of watching 15-year-old girls slam their vaginas against the ground. Like, that is so fucking disgusting to me. It just, like, it blows my mind that's even allowed to be out there, honestly. It blows my mind that, like, anybody under the age of 18 is allowed to be online. Yeah, I was a kid that was online underneath the age of 18, and let me tell you, I may not be the hottest girl in the world. I may not even be the prettiest. I may not even be, you know, in the top 1 billion beautiful girls in the world. That's fine, because I know there's plenty of more beautiful women out there. And I'm not insecure about that. I just know that's a fact. But it's like predator fucking central for me. Like, as a teenager, I got preyed on so much by not just men. I'm not going to throw men under the bus, because I got hit on and sexually harassed more by women than I did by men. And it was usually gay women that were out there, like, preying on me. But part of the LGBT community, unfortunately, when you're young, is being preyed on, which is disgusting. Because, you know, like, for me, like, I don't really identify much as, like, LGBT. Like, I'm not really involved in the community anymore just because of how fucking toxic it is. But, you know, I myself am a queer, and that's just, you know, the way it goes, I guess. I don't know. I didn't fucking pick this life. The life picked me. But, you know, just in general. And, you know, the thing that pisses me off is we're allowed to have songs, you know, like from Cardi B and Nicki Minaj, but yeah, we're gonna sit there and ban Baby It's Cold Outside because of the rapey undertones. How? Because, I mean, the lyrics, like, you really can't stay, baby, let's go inside. Like, he's trying to keep her inside so that way she doesn't fucking freeze to death. He isn't trying to force her to, like, stay there so he could, like, violate her, whatever the fuck the context is that feminists are trying to use. Because I know it's feminists starting shit. Like, let's be real. We're not seeing grown men go out there and be like, oh, Baby It's Cold Outside is rapey. No, who fucking cares? Why don't you guys grow a fucking backbone and understand that just because someone doesn't want to sleep with you doesn't mean it's not fucking rape? Like, that's the problem with most feminists. It's like, nobody wants to fucking sleep with them because they're just, honest to God, disgusting. And that's coming from a former new wave feminist. Because, you know, like, I was disgusting. Like, fuck, when you guys want to talk about, like, those fat, gross, disgusting, like, let my armpit hair grow out and just be a fat, disgusting blob of society. Yeah, I was one of those at one point. I mean, yeah, let's be honest. I'm not the thinnest girl. You know, I have a lot going for me still, when it comes to weight. You know, I'm not going to, you know, lie and be like, oh, yeah, you know, I'm slightly overweight. Like, no. Like, I'm about 228 pounds, 226, somewhere in there. It kind of varies because, you know, weight usually varies by 1 or 2 pounds. But, so, you know, let's go with the high end, say I'm 228. I'm supposed to be at 150. If I can do math right, that's about 78 pounds overweight. But compared to where I was when I was a feminist, that's, like, pretty fucking impressive considering the fact I was 420 pounds in 2018. So, you know, 2.5 years ago, when I moved down here, at least. So, you know, it's just like overall, like, it's just gross to me that we're out here calling rape on songs that aren't even rapey. They're just like a man trying to be nice to a woman, which is fine. I love it when men are nice to me, and not because, you know, I'm a slut and want to sleep with every fucking guy that's nice to me, but because, you know, I respect gentlemen, because there's so much of a lacking for gentlemen. Like, let's be real, there's not enough gentlemen in this world. And the unfortunate thing, it's because like women set that example that like, yeah, men only, or women only want like that bad boy type. Like, yeah, bad boys are cute when you're in fucking high school, but I want a fucking man to grow up and help me pay the fucking bills instead of sitting on his ass playing Xbox. You can play Xbox when dating me, that's fine. I love a gamer guy. Trust me, I am literally like every simp's wet dream and every incel and nice guy's wet dream. Like, let's be real. Like, I don't believe in feminism. I cook, I clean. I don't care if you play with your boys. I don't care if you know, fuck around on your Xbox. Like, I'm literally a wet dream for those boys. But at the same time, it's also just one of those things where it's like, you know, nice guys, like genuine nice guys do not exist anymore. Because society has taught them from such a small age that, yeah, you know, the girls go for the bad boys. And, you know, it's really disgusting when I see that in movies, because, like, it's like, what if I have a daughter? Like, movies nowadays are pretty much teaching her, like, oh, yeah, the bad boy is the type of guy that you want. Or Prince Charming, which, you know, let's be honest, Prince Charmings don't exist. You know, I've fallen in love. I'm in love. Like, things are just that way, you know? But unfortunately, it's just one of those things where it's like either you get Prince Charming or you get this fucking loser in tinfoil. And I mean, somewhere in between, there are genuinely nice guys. Like, genuinely nice guys. And for me, I was a liberal for a lot of my dating ages. Like, let's be real. And because of that, I went for the losers in tinfoil a lot. But since I've came, you know, to the right side, like, I realized, you know, there's so many fucking gentlemen on the right side, and it's like, that's the type of guy that I want my daughter to like grow up and marry. Is obviously like a right-wing conservative man, of course, assuming he's not Q. Not that I have anything really against Q, but some of the things they say are just far-fetched, you know. But it's just unfortunate that we have songs, you know, like WAP and Stupid Hoe and Anaconda, and fuck, how long can this list go on? It could probably go on forever. And, you know, then you have like female empowerment songs like You Don't Own Me. It's like, yeah, a man doesn't own you, but if your boyfriend tells you not to fucking do something, it's probably a good fucking reason. Because, you know, trust me, like, I had an ex-boyfriend. I'm gonna use the terms fairly controlling because at times he was. Overall, I think he was a good man. We had verbal issues a few times. We had one minor incident, another. But it's just like, you know, when he told me not to talk to a guy, I listened to him. And that's just because, like, I am maybe autistic sometimes. I don't fucking know. I like to use the term retarded. But, you know, a lot of liberals are like, oh, don't use that. It's like, first of all, the majority of my siblings are fucking retarded. So, you know, I just come from a retarded-ass family. And the fact that I'm not autistic is honestly just, like, astronomically insane. But, you know, like, sometimes I just can't read social cues, or, like, when people are hitting on me, I have a really hard time figuring that out. But at the same time, you know, when, you know, I used to let my ex-boyfriend, like, in my phone, like, I didn't really give a shit, like, what's he gonna do, yell at me? Like, oh, big fucking deal. It's like my parents did that my whole life, or, you know, my guardians at the time did that my whole life, so it's like, I don't fucking care. You know, he'd go through, he's like, hey, I don't want you talking to, like, this guy and that guy. And then, you know, he would sit there, like, explain to me, like, why that was a bad idea, like, you know, because, like, I was so used to, like, that grooming technique that a lot of, like I said, grown people were using on me that, you know, because I hypersexualized myself at one point in my life. I was really hypersexualized, and that's because growing up, I was led to believe that that was okay to be hypersexualized. I mean, fuck. By the time I was in middle school, let's say I was about 12, I was dreaming about being a stripper. Like, that's fucking disgusting. Like, why should an 11-year-old child be talking about, when I grow up, I want to be a stripper? Like, what? Like, you know, I was exposed to a lot growing up. Like, let's be real. I didn't really grow up with a sheltered life. I wasn't sheltered at all, actually. Like, let's be completely honest. Completely wasn't sheltered. And if, you know, my parents and my guardians always tried to shelter me, but somehow I always got exposed to those kind of a thing. And, you know, thank you, public school, for, you know, teaching me about Two Girls, One Cup and pornography and sex and condoms and fucking murdering babies. Like, yeah, thank the education system for teaching me about fucking abortion. Like, that's disgusting. That shouldn't be the school's decision, but here we are. But, you know, it's like, just hypersexualizing girls, like, creates such an issue. Because, I mean, when you have 11 and 12-year-old girls, like, twerking on the playground or, like, trying to get, like, finger blasted, to say the least, by, like, other boys at school, like, that's so fucking sick. Like, I remember when I was in school, I was 12, actually, when the rumor started that I was a slut. And, you know, I'm not a slut. But unfortunately, because I refused to let a 14-year-old dude finger fuck me when I was 12 at school, I was called a slut. And it's like, I don't believe in that whole, like, victim blaming, woman shaming bullshit. Like, I don't. I just like to use those terms to piss off liberals, honestly. But it's like, at the same time, it's just one of those things where it's like, you know, a 14-year-old boy tried to hypersexualize me in the one place where I was supposed to feel safe from, you know, those kind of feelings and raw sexual energy, if you want to call it that. Like, you know, it's disgusting. And, you know, I'm really thrilled that that school district is just arresting teachers left and right. So, I mean, Evergreen School District, Vancouver, Washington, y'all got a fucking problem. And, you know, you guys should really fix it. But, you know, unfortunately, you know, we just have kids that have been hypersexualized, so they think trying to force a 12-year-old or a 13 or 14-year-old into, like, you know, practically digital rape, the same thing that fucking Jacob Blake was arrested for. You know, like, let's just be honest, like, it's so fucking disgusting that, like, the hypersexualization of children is such an issue. And my biggest problem with it overall is when, you know, we right-wing people will hold rallies against it, and then we have people, like, fucking counter-protesting it. Like, you can guess who's counter-protesting it, right? You know, the people that are defending pedophiles, and, you know, people like Kate Brown that take money from rapists and things like that, and child pornography collectors. God, sorry, that just made my fucking stomach turn. I hate using that term, but I really can't think of another term. But people that just collect child pornography, like, you know, the Democrats just collect money from pretty much anybody who will give it to them. Like, I would rather have a murderer give me money than a sex offender give me money. And for one, it's because I have somewhat of a disregard for human life, and that's just because I think humans fucking suck. But when it comes down to it, children are a #1 priority in my life. Like, protecting children is my #1 thing in life, which is why I was really pissed off when I lost my internship because of Antifa. Is because it was all about protecting and saving children, and, you know, that's been my life goal since I was a child. Because, you know, there's a lot of things that I should have been saved from that I wasn't. But, you know, I'm not saying this is the case for everybody, but for me at least, it really refines me to the person that I am. And unfortunately, I'm fucking thrilled that I went through it. You know, I went through a lot of things that I'm trying to protect children from, you know, sexual abuse, domestic violence, child abuse of any kind, honestly, because I've kind of gone through it all. Like, you know, I just want to protect kids from that. And unfortunately, it's one of those things that, like, hypersexualization makes it so much easier for young girls to be sexually assaulted. I mean, when I was younger, like, younger, I was exposed to a lot of things maybe I shouldn't have been exposed to, you know, walking in on people doing things and, you know, such as, like, you know, that happens to, like, most kids, but, like, I was a little old. You know, I wasn't, like, 3, 4, 5, you know, kids that won't remember. You know, I was, like, 6, 7, somewhere in there when I walked in on a couple people having sex, and they just didn't stop, and I just stood there, like, what the fuck is going on? You know, I couldn't comprehend it, and it was just like, okay. But, you know, being exposed to, like, hypersexual nature of things, like, obviously, I started, you know, doing things that, you know, were not normal for a younger child, you know, exploring myself, which is fucking disgusting, because masturbation, to me personally, is, like, fucking gross, and that's just because I find that gross. I don't know, that's just a personal me thing. But just in general, like, you know, getting exposed to that kind of stuff, I was you know, pretty much figuring things out about myself and about other people. And, you know, when I figured out about all of that, it led to bigger issues because, you know, I'd been sexually assaulted, you know, once before that. But then after that, I was really, really exposed to sexual assault after that, like consistently. So, you know, sexualizing your children at a younger age is pretty much leading them up to be raped because it's grooming in very small increments. And a lot of people don't see hypersexualization in like the media as like, oh, you know, that's preying on children. But it's like, you know, like I said earlier, like what grown woman is going to go out of her way to listen to WAP? Okay, first of all, ratchet women, women who live off child support, women who live off to government. I'm not going to lie. I do receive government aid. But I didn't start really receiving government aid until, you know, this year because of COVID. And, you know, that's because, you know, not eating is not an option for me. I mean, I am a bigger girl, of course, and I could probably, you know, miss a few meals, like gang. But at the same time, it's like, it's not healthy for your body to miss meals and things like that. So it's like, I took my eating very seriously and, you know, ended up signing up for food stamps. And for the time being, I'm on food stamps. But, you know, I still get my bills paid and all of that. And, you know, my life is pretty fucking decent. But, you know, there are people that are pretty much career criminals, I like to call them. But, you know, like, I have a family member, they've pretty much been on food stamps since fucking, like, 2000s, like, the earlier 2000s. So, like, pretty much, let's just say they started in 2000 up until today. That's 20 fucking years on assistance, and I think that's stupid. But completely beside the point. But women who are pretty much trash will listen to Cardi B, and those women usually have fucking children that they're exposing that to, which then leads me back to the, you're exposing your children to being groomed, which then leads to hypersexualization, which then leads to this really awful thing that we call sexual assault. So that's my rant about why hypersexualization in songs and media representation is bad for young girls, and why I think the Cardi B WAP song's fucking disgusting and completely useless to society. Oh, this has been Conservative Lady Talk. Have a good one.